Today we're really excited to open up and try out our brand new Solo Stove Bonfire. This is a product we just learned about earlier this year, and we're hoping that it'll make our bonfires less smoky. Out at the farm we often get a bit of breeze and we find ourselves moving around the campfire at night as the smoke comes towards us. So we're hoping this will really help with that. We're also hoping that it'll make it easier to start bonfires and keep the bonfire lit on those windy nights. This is the medium size they have. There is a larger version of this and a smaller version of this. We bought just the bonfire itself. There are packages you can get that come with the lid or a base and stuff like that, but we went with just the base version. We want to really try it out first before we buy a bunch of accessories. We're also hoping that if it is less smoky, our clothes will also smell less smoky. So what we'll do in the video today is we'll open it up to show you what's inside. We'll give just our initial impressions of it, and we'll use it for the first time. Okay, let's see what's inside. Wrapped in plastic, inside are the directions, which we'll read closely. And I believe this is the carrying case. So in the box was the bonfire unit itself. There's this fire ring on top, and the carrying case and the instructions. So my first impression is it is a little bigger than I expected. We knew the measurements ahead of time, but actually seeing it in person, it feels bigger. I'll show you in a second with the measuring tape exactly how big it is. It's a really nice, sleek design. It feels pretty heavy duty when I lift it. It's definitely got some weight to it. So we'll read through the instructions. We're going to wait a little bit before we start the fire for its initial use to make sure we do it right the first time. But I'll show you the measurements now. So from the bottom of the bonfire to the top is just a hair over 14 inches. And again, we don't have the base or the lid. This is just the bonfire unit itself. The inside of the unit depth is about 10 inches to the lower part of the inner ring. And across the diameter is, it looks like 19¼ inches. The inside of the bonfire is 17½ inches. So we read through the manual and we're ready to start the fire. One thing I am going to do is just put these treated 2x4s underneath the bonfire. I don't know how hot that's going to get on our stamped concrete, so I'm just going to put that under there for at least the initial use. So the entire instruction manual is just one piece of paper. The first thing you're supposed to do is remove the fire ring, so this piece on the outside. Then we're going to put the tinder, kindling, and small wood pieces in the center of the bonfire pit. We're a little nervous that our kindling might not be dry enough. You're supposed to use dry, hard wood for best results. So we'll see how this goes. It also says that the first time you use the bonfire, it'll take 5 to 15 minutes to achieve full efficiency. So we'll light this, and then once the flame is going, actually after you light it, you put the flame ring back on, and then as the embers bed gets hotter, you can start adding 1 to 3 pieces of wood, and as those catch fire, you can add additional wood. The important thing to make sure is that you don't go above the top of the bonfire pit, otherwise you'll be susceptible to more smoke. So now that the ember bed is hotter, we're going to add a log or two. We did end up using a couple pine cones to get it started because our tinder and stuff was just not taken off, and those really helped. Note that the fire ring edge comes up, not down. It actually ships with this ring in the down position. It needs to be up for it to actually help with reducing smoke and stuff. And again, the important thing here is that you don't go over the top ring. Otherwise, it's not going to reduce the smoke and it's not going to be the best efficiency. So I want to mention not filling it up too full with wood again. It's actually the top air holes inside the thing. It says do not fill above those, otherwise it'll decrease efficiency and produce more smoke. For best results, you're supposed to use dry hardwood. There are a few user warnings, actually quite a few, but a few that I want to point out. This will get extremely hot, so you definitely should never attempt to move it or touch it until it's completely cooled down. It also says to make sure that you never use gasoline, kerosene, diesel fuel, lighter fluid, or any other flammable liquid to try to light or relight the fire pit, because you will damage it. And when you are done using it for the night, you're just supposed to let it burn down on its own and let it completely cool. And at that point, you can turn it over and dump the ash out. One thing you definitely should not use is water to extinguish the fire, because that will damage the fire pit and could injure yourself. In terms of storage and care, after each use, it says completely let it cool down. You can then, again, turn it over and empty out the ash. If you do want to wipe it down, you should only use a dry cloth. It is important to keep it out of rain and snow. It does come with a carrying case. The Bonfire comes with a carrying case that's included, so that's a good option to keep it out of the elements. Due to the high temperature, it is normal for it to discolor, and that is fine. It is stainless steel, so it has an increased resistance to rust. However, it says it is not rust proof. Prolonged exposure to moisture may increase staining or rusting. But it says that even if it shows signs of staining and rusting, that is normal and it will not affect its use. So again, the wood's gonna affect how smoky it is. We are getting a little bit of smoke now, but we didn't have the driest firewood. And this is the initial use, so it's gonna take a full 15 minutes before it reaches full efficiency. We're just about ready to cook some s'mores. This is an item that we're hoping will enhance our camping experience, but we'd love to hear from you if you have anything else that we could try. So please leave us a comment. We'll try to give an update later this year as we use it more, and we'll see if any of the other accessories are something we'll be interested in. Some of the stuff I'm kind of interested in is there's a base that can go underneath it. There's a screen you can put on top of it and a lid. So those are things we might consider if we use this a lot. If you found this video useful, please give it a like. And of course, if you have any questions or suggestions for us, please leave us a comment. Happy camping, and thanks for watching. It's the next morning, and this is what it ended up burning down to. in terms of what was left when the fire went out last night, I would say it took about an hour and a half after we put the last log on for it to burn all the way down and all the embers be gone. And at that point it was still warm on the outside, and it took maybe like another hour for it to completely cool down. Now I'm going to attempt to empty out the ash. You're just supposed to turn it over and dump it out, but I want to get it into a garbage bag. So I'm going to put a garbage bag over top. Actually, before you do that, make sure you take the fire ring out. The flame ring. We did notice as it was cooling off last night that some of the ash was kind of blowing up in the air as the wind picked up. So a lid is something we'll probably consider getting. The other thing is it was a pretty cool evening last night, so I'm guessing the hour for it to completely cool down might be on the lower end compared to what it would be later in the summer, because I've read online it typically takes up to 2 hours for it to completely cool down. The next thing I'll try doing is putting it in its carrying case. Thinking this might be a two-person job.